Welcome to Let's Talk Midlife Crisis. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Tracy. We're your go-to hosts for all things midlife, menopause, and moments of pure mayhem.
Whether you're navigating hot flashes, chasing new passions, or just trying to remember why you walked into a room,
we've got you. Every week we bring you tips, real-life stories, and expert advice to help you laugh, learn, and thrive through this midlife wild journey. 8 psychological facts about best friends.
Ooh, this is going to be a good one.
I thought it would be interesting considering today we're doing a spring training game with our crew, if you will, with our besties. So, and we actually have Dina is in studio with us today, but she's not. May or may not join the conversation.
Dina's a little nervous.
She's
it's
a little
okay.
nervous. We've talked about you a lot. If you've listened, do you listen?
I do. I am behind though.
Okay, that's okay. But yeah, we probably have mentioned you once or twice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The Italy trip and things
Yes.
like that.
Oh yeah. But I thought it would be important to talk about friendships today because that's what, started the whole podcast, right? Was creating a community and of women, like-minded women going through some of the same challenges that we're all going through.
Yeah, and I think, our group really consists of pretty much every decade, honestly.
Yeah, I'm
today...
I'm the oldest.
Today Paige is going with us and she's the youngest. So, but I think between the four of us, we're all in different decades. So
That's
we're
true.
going through these different, phases. Some have already been through it. Some are new to it. I always joke, Paige, shortly after she turned 30, woke up one morning and was like, "Oh, why does my body feel so stiff?" And I was like, "Ha ha ha ha! Welcome."
It's not even funny though. We're laughing now, but it's really not funny. So I've always heard of this term frozen shoulder. And I'm thinking, what the hell is that?
I've heard of cold shoulder.
Okay, frozen shoulder.
Okay.
So then about, a month or two ago, I wake up and my shoulder aches. And I'm thinking, oh, I must have slept on it wrong, right? And then another week or two goes by and my other shoulder aches.
Oh, no.
And I'm thinking, what is happening? Well, now neither one have gone away, so to speak.
No.
And I'm pretty sure I have what they call frozen shoulder.
What is that?
I don't know, but it hurts.
I
And
can shed some light on that.
Okay.
Please do. Please.
Okay, I'll chime in.
Yeah.
I broke my shoulder in September of 2021, and when I was going through physical therapy, they were talking about frozen shoulders, basically not using it enough. So it gets frozen, especially if you've had like a broken shoulder or surgery or something to that effect. But my dad also had like rotator cuff issues, so that could be it too. There's a lot of really good...
I feel like it was probably not moving it enough, so I'm back on my chair yoga, and we'll have a recap of that soon. But I do feel like I don't use it enough. But just raising them above my head hurts. It's just funny. It's things like that. And then I go to the doctor, and I'm like, oh my gosh, thinking I'm dying. And he just brushes it off as old age. And it's like, wait a minute. This is
I'm
serious.
uncomfortable.
Right. Like, can you give me something for it or what have you?
I mean, I've mentioned before, I have early stages of arthritis. I have tendonitis.
Yes.
And if I go a period of time without doing my stretches, I feel it. I really feel it.
Yeah.
So I think it is crucial, no matter what age you are and
Right.
whether or not you're hurting, to actually start doing something like
the
that.
movement.
Yeah.
Yep, just the movement. Just the movement.
Our bodies are not made to sit still. They're not.
No.
Yeah.
Even though we talked about the 8 ways of different rest in our last week's show.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is important to take some
Right.
time to rest, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, absolutely. But,
It comes to a
like
point
you
where
said,
you need
not
to-
using your
Yes.
shoulders much, not doing, more than just like running to the store. And,
Yep.
you need to take, 5
Type it on
minutes
the
out of your
computer.
day and just kind of move things around,
Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%. Okay, so our 8 psychological facts about best friends.
Okay.
Number 1, if a friendship lasts longer than 7 years, Psychologists say it will last a lifetime.
Wow. I mean, we're a product of that.
No, I know. Not necessarily true,
Not
but
necessarily.
Well, and yeah, we're a product of it not happening.
Sadly, I've lost a few friends
I mean,
that were decade
Yeah,
friends,
yeah.
you know?
And, people change, and sometimes
They do.
it's not, you're not compatible anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
studies show that if a friendship lasts over 7 years, it's likely to
Right.
last a lifetime. Not
For sure.
right, not guaranteed, of course, but the depth of the connection and shared experience strengthens bonds over time, which I can see that.
Yeah.
Right, that makes
Oh,
sense.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, but it's not guaranteed, and I think it's safe to say all three of us in this room have lost friendships that we've had for over 7 years.
Right,
Right.
right.
So, number 2, never worry about losing a friend because a real friend can never be lost.
That's so true.
So, following up to number 1,
Right.
I think it is true, right? Real friends could never be lost. And we were talking earlier about one of my closest and dearest friends that I've had since I was 14 years old. Her mother just passed away. And it's so sad because even though she lives here still, right, in Arizona, but on the other side of town, so she might as well be in, California
different state.
or Nevada. But we don't regularly, or Florida, but we don't regularly speak.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And sadly enough, when she calls, it's usually because somebody has died.
Oh.
Or it used to be somebody was in jail, right? Somebody was in jail or somebody died. But it's sad, but it's true. But we both know that we don't need to talk to each other every week
Yeah,
in
and
order
I
to
think-
stay close, and we catch up right where we left
Well, I was
off.
going to say, I think too, your true friends, like, my childhood friend, we met when we were 12 years old. We at one point lived together. We were friends for a very, very long time before she moved to Chicago, which was, oh gosh, probably 20 years ago. And even now, like, we don't talk every week. Sometimes we don't even talk, within a month. But when we do, it's like there was never any gap in time.
Yeah.
Ever. Usually it's just like immediate, like, oh, hey, it's just that feeling of, it's like family.
Yes.
It's family,
Yes.
that feeling of
100%.
connection and, yeah, you're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. But as soon as we connect, it's like we've been talking every day.
Yep.
Except we're catching up,
Yes, 100%. Friendships evolve, but genuine connections remain even through challenge. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's
I think
pretty
that
true
too
statement.
is a lot of times when you find out who your true friends are is when you go through your, experiencing challenges, whether it has anything to do with your friendship, even just personal. A lot of times that's when you find out who's really there for you, you know?
Exactly.
Right. Yep.
So true.
Okay, number 3. Friendship is not about who you spend the most time with. It's about who you have the best time.
Ah, I like that.
And I do too. And I
It's very
100%
true.
agree. Yes.
Very true. I mean, if you have a friend that you're not having a good time with, you're not going to hang out with them that much,
Right. Right. But sometimes, to be fair, sometimes, a friend is having a bad day or is down or there's something significant going on in their life where they need your support.
Right.
Right. So maybe that's going to be a time where you both aren't going to have the best time. But hopefully you'll be there to support that person, do some active listening, if nothing else. There's just so many reasons why friendships are important in
Right.
that scenario, and perhaps you're not having the best time, but it could significantly impact this person that really needs a friend.
Absolutely. And your bond as a friend, within your friendship.
I usually don't edit you. I usually only edit me.
I don't know. I think I should be edited more.
Okay. Number 4, a strong friendship doesn't need daily conversation.
Right.
It doesn't always need togetherness. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. A solid friendship doesn't require constant communication. It thrives on mutual trust and understanding.
But it does require communication.
Yeah.
It does.
Absolutely.
Because I have a friend that I've known since I was 14. She is like outside of my family, the person I've known the longest. And because of stuff that's way too much to go into. I've literally not talked to her on the phone in over 10 years.
Wow.
And she lives in Florida.
Wow.
I know when I go to Florida, I see her. It's still weird, but she refuses to talk to me on the phone.
Why?
And yet she's always sending these little memes about good friendship and how, how important it is. And I'm like, really? Is it that important?
Okay, so I'm curious, why does she not want to talk on the phone? Does she not like to talk on the phone, or is there something between you
There's
guys?
something going
There's
on.
still something
okay.
there.
Yeah, unresolved things, and I
Right.
keep trying to resolve them. And
Some people just can't let go of those things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is really sad because I feel like that's very heavy to hang on to that stuff. You're carrying weight around.
I like to let things go for myself, right? Like not for you or or anybody else necessarily, although it could benefit them by, apologizing when I feel I've done nothing wrong or what have you, but just for me to release that for my own happiness and so that I can feel better.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
Yeah. My mom and I were talking last night about a lot of different things, but one of the things that came up was, if someone ever did something to my children, it would be really, I know that you're supposed to forgive,
Right.
but it would be really, really hard. But then the more I thought about it, I thought that's a lot of weight to carry. I think I could. I think I could.
Over
I think I
time.
could. Yeah, I think
take
I
me
could get
some
to that
time.
place to go, you know what, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'd want to carry that around my whole life, even though it might have affected my child or my partner or whatever.
Great example. Great example. Yeah. Yeah. But life gets busy. But real friends pick up right where they left off, which is what we both, we've all
Right.
just talked about and agreed on. Let's see. Number 5, best friends are people who make your problems their problems. Just so you don't have to go through them alone. Right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I seem to take on a lot of emotional weight through my friends. If something I know happens to someone, it really affects me. I remember 2 of my friends I lost a couple years ago in the same year, and both were dear, dear friends to me. And I remember the moment that they told me that, they had cancer. Like, it was just like the world stopped rotating and stopped moving, and I can't even describe how I felt, but I can definitely tell you that I did feel their pain and suffering, so.
Yeah, I think that's true empathy too, and it shows, who you are, your character. It says a lot because there are a lot of people, and I don't want to say it's selfish, but there are a lot of people that just don't, get themselves involved in other people's things. And that's just kind of their personality. And so that's why I don't want to call it selfish, because it's not necessarily like I don't care. They just don't get themselves involved. And therefore they're missing out on like the closeness they could have with people, with friends and family too.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% agree with that. Number 6, a true friend is someone who sees the pain in your eyes while everyone else believes the smile on your face. So again, that's just a follow-up of, number 5. And I think a true friend can see, right? You can probably look me in the eye and tell
when something's
if there's
going
something
on.
wrong, right? Because everybody wants to put that strong, happy face on. But sometimes if you really have that closeness and friendship with someone, you can see behind that.
Right.
And know that there's a problem.
Even their voice. Like you
Oh,
talking to your friends on the phone, and, I bet you knew something was up before they even said that they had cancer.
Right, right.
You probably picked up on that right away.
Yeah. Well, they're both in the hospital. So it was, you expect kind of bad news there.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, no matter what, it was shocking. But I've had friends in family, right? People, my kids, they try to put up that brave face. But you can, like you were saying, by the
Yeah.
way that they're talking, maybe body language, or just looking at them in the eye, and you can see the sadness, even though their face is smiling. No, I'm fine. How are you?
Right.
Everybody is fine. I don't think you should be allowed to say the word fine when somebody asks how you're doing.
I'm fine.
Right? I'm fine.
Because that's really not great. So what's going on?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But even like the lack of conversation too, I think sometimes when people have turmoil within them, they don't engage as much.
Yeah.
That's a true sign too, especially if they're normally very social and engage in conversation. So
Yeah, I mean, as everybody in this room knows, I my job and the job of your son and the job of about 2,500 other people at the company I work for were just ceremoniously shipped over to the Philippines. So I'm in contact with the people on my team and picking up very strong vibes just in text messages.
yeah,
Right.
That they are not okay. And so, yeah, it's heartbreaking,
Right.
to try, and then reaching out, trying to get in touch with them. So hopefully I'll be able to
And
talk
being
with them.
positive and
Yeah,
sharing that positivity and
absolutely, super important.
that's scary. That's happening to a lot of people right now. And I remember when it happened to you guys, and then it was like suddenly there was this wave, and there were other companies that were firing employees at headquarters. And then all of a sudden, of course, we have our executive orders
Yes.
that have been put into place.
Right.
And now thousands of other people have lost their job.
And the
So
tariffs are causing more people to be
right.
like,
So yeah, so it's kind of crazy. It's a crazy world right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of people experiencing some really scary situations right now because there's a lot of people looking for jobs, and it's going to be very challenging for them to find income at this point,
Will.
yeah.
And that's scary. That is
that
scary.
is the report coming from the outplacement company that
Right.
was hired. They're saying, yeah, this is a really tough job environment right now.
Yeah.
For job
My
seekers.
friend that I was just talking about that I've known since I was 14, we were talking and she was actually in training. And I was like, oh, you're in training. She was in training in Chicago and Wisconsin where it was like negative 25 degrees. But and I was like, oh, you're in training. So we were texting at first and then we talked on the phone and she was telling me how she was laid off of her job last year, at the early part of last year, but how she just couldn't find a job. And she had just finally found a job, but it had taken her like 9 months. And I think one of her struggles, and I know other people that have been seeking jobs as well, said the same thing, that nobody's returning calls. Nobody's even, you send out your resume, there's a job posting, and you send out your resume and it's crickets. You don't hear anything back. Did they get it? Are they still hiring? What's happening? And so she was fortunate to know somebody. And sometimes it really is about who you know and not what you know, because then she had a friend who talked to another friend who talked to someone else and said, oh, we've got to make this happen. They were at a hiring freeze, but said, we're going to find a way. Be patient. We want you on board with us. Just please be patient while we find a way to get around this hiring freeze. And by the grace of God, she now is gainfully employed. So it's a really scary place out there if you are, seeking employment.
Yes, and it is really critical to use your networks because so many of us, I don't know about you guys, but I know I have a hard time asking for help.
Yes.
And a lot of
I'm
us
that way
do.
too.
A lot of us are, especially strong, independent women, we want, I can do this, I don't need any. And
Right.
so asking,
Or pride.
reaching
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
to ask your contacts.
And
Do
if
you
you're
know
offered
anything?
help, accept it.
Exactly.
It's going to take some weight off of you if you accept the help. But it's also a really critical time to be in touch with your friends.
Yeah.
Because you need your spirit lifted. You need, and that will affect your outlook on things and the way things fall into place and the way you interview and, your confidence. So
Yes.
definitely, keep in touch with your friends, the ones that lift you and bring you up. And say, what, this is not forever. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just be
Right.
patient.
And maybe in the, scenario of looking for a new job, maybe it's someone that you don't even feel would have connections, right? Or that could support you in that way. Shockingly, you might find that it's not true.
Yeah.
Maybe their partner knows somebody, or it's just building that community. Again, it's about community and leaning on that community when you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, number 7. Only a true friend will tell you to your face what others are saying behind your back.
Yes. Love that one.
That's a good one.
I love it.
I don't want to know what people are saying behind my back.
Well, I don't know anybody that's talking behind your back, Dina. I would tell you if they were.
I don't
would
know
tell
either.
you.
Any of us in this room. But
No, I think, I can think back to even middle school.
Yeah.
Where some of my closest friends would say, hey, so-and-so said blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. That goes clear into adulthood, obviously.
Yeah.
That's when like I said, there's times when these are my true friends, And yeah, I think, if it's no different than your family member or your kid. If you knew someone was talking shit,
Right.
and then nice to their face,
Yeah.
you're going to be like, hey, that's not cool. I mean, it's no different. You should do that for your friends as
also,
well.
those types of people, you have to know that they do that to you. If they're doing it
Oh,
with
yes.
you, right, talking to you about someone else,
Yeah.
chances are very high that they're going to do it about you.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely.
right,
And
you're
that's
not
one
with them.
thing I always, I've had friends that will vent to me,
Yep.
and, about other friends or, other people that we know. And it's just oh, I wonder what they're saying about me when I'm not around,
Right.
know?
Right. Well, I also think that there's a difference between venting and
Yeah, absolutely.
out,
Just really bad mouthing. Yeah,
friendships.
yeah. Betrayal.
Yeah. But, true friends don't sugarcoat the truth generally. Maybe they say it they deliver it in a nice way.
Right.
That hopefully, is very filtered and they think about it because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings.
Right.
But yet you want to let them know. I think that's actually a very tricky part.
It is.
In a friendship, right? In a close friendship. I guess the number one thing is I think we could all answer this question with a yes, but I'll just theoretically, hypothetically put it out there. But if you know that, one of your partners, your friend's partner's cheating on them, would you tell them?
I know. Those
Right?
are situations that it's
Until you're
what do
in
you?
it.
Yeah, and that actually happened to me when I was younger. It was when I was married to my kid's dad. We had friends, neighbors that were friends that we hung out with. And the woman, she and I would go out sometimes without the guys. They'd stay home with the kids, and we would go out, and vice versa. And there was one night we went out, and she was very friendly with her boss. And I, to a point that it was physical in public.
Uncomfortable for you.
Yes, extremely, because her husband was a friend of mine. And I just could not, it just ate at me. I felt so terrible. And I finally just told my husband at the time and said, look, this is what's going on. And I can't hide this, you know? So he said, well, I'll talk to him. I'll let him know. I said, okay. Because they were closer, obviously. And it blew everything up. We were no longer friends with them. Her husband refused to believe it. And I'm like, why would I make that up?
Right.
Why would I make that up?
Right.
But it did. It ruined our friendship. And it was so sad to me because I thought, I just felt like he needed to know. And that doesn't mean you guys can't stay together and work on things. That's fine.
Right.
Which they did. I don't, whether or not he ever believed it, I don't know what ended up happening, but it was so sad to me
'Cause
that
you lost that
I
friendship.
came out and tried to help you. I wasn't trying to destroy your relationship,
Yeah.
So that's a really hard one.
Well, yeah, that's a hard one. But, people just telling you that, what others won't sometimes, right? That maybe it's a little bit painful. You don't want to hear it, but sometimes maybe it's just more constructive criticism
Right.
than anything else. And perhaps it will help you grow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there could be
Well, that would be the
positives,
goal.
right?
Right?
We would hope so.
To help the person be a better person.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And then number 8, the final, sometimes being with your best friend is all the therapy you need.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my older sister is definitely one of my best friends. And I think anytime I go through something, and she's kind of the same way, we'll go weeks without talking and then, check in with each other here and there. But both of us, if we're going through something crazy, we reach out and it's like, we need a girls' weekend. Like, I need to see you. I don't want to talk about it over the phone. I want to hang out. And it's so therapeutic. It's so nice when I'm with her. It's like, I can just tell her anything.
Yeah.
And vice versa. It's just like we both know that we have each other's backs no matter what. And sometimes we just need each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I'm grateful to have that with her.
And to quote Jane Fonda, who I just adore.
Oh, love her.
I have my friends and therefore I am.
I love that. Well, that wraps it up for today. Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk Midlife Crisis. We hope you got some laughs, a little inspiration, and maybe a few new ideas.
If you loved today's episode, hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss an episode. And hey, share the love. Send this episode to a friend who could use a good laugh and some midlife wisdom.
Connect with us on social media at Let's Talk Midlife Crisis and let us know what's on your mind. We love hearing from you.
At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.